All right, let's just jump right in. We are surrounded by products that are completely free to use, right? Spotify, Dropbox, Zoom. But here's the thing. These free companies are worth billions of dollars. It just doesn't seem to make sense. It's a paradox. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out exactly how it all works.
I mean, this is the core puzzle, isn't it? It kind of flips everything we think we know about business on its head. If you're not paying for the product, how are companies like Slack and LinkedIn building these massive empires? Well, the answer is a lot cooler and a lot more clever than you might think.
So, first, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. The model we're talking about is called Freemium. Now, this isn't some free trial that runs out. The free version is yours to use forever. You get the basic stuff for absolutely nothing, but you always have the option to pay for more. More power, more storage, or maybe just to get rid of those ads.
Okay, so when you ask most people how freemium works, their mind usually goes to one place. It's what we call the conversion funnel.
And the logic seems pretty simple, right? The free product is basically just a giant free sample. You let millions of people try it out, they start using it, they fall in love with it, and eventually, some of them are going to pull out their credit cards and upgrade. It makes perfect sense, but honestly, it's only the very tip of the iceberg.
Because here's the reality check. For most of these wildly successful freemium companies, the number of people who actually convert from free to paid is, well, it's shockingly low. We're talking about a range of just 2 to 5%.
So this is where it gets really interesting. Think about it. If 95, maybe even 98% of your users are never going to pay you a single dime, how on earth do you build a billion-dollar company on that? This is where that simple conversion idea just completely falls apart, and the real genius of the freemium model starts to show.
And that brings us to the real core of this whole thing. It turns out those millions of non-paying users, they aren't a cost. They are the engine. They create enormous value in ways you can't really see on the surface. So we have to completely reframe how we look at this. We've got to stop seeing those free users as just failed sales pitches and start seeing them for what they are, a strategic asset. Like this quote says, "Conversion is important, sure, but it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle."
So what are these other pieces? Well, you can pretty much boil it down to 3 hidden engines that power this whole model. You've got word-of-mouth marketing, something called network effects, and all the data they generate, which is then used to make the product better for everyone. Let's break those down.
Okay, first up, your free users basically become your own personal marketing army. When a product is free, there is absolutely zero friction to sharing it. People tell their friends, they tell their colleagues, it just spreads. This creates this incredible organic growth that you just can't buy, no matter how big your advertising budget is. Dropbox is the textbook case for this. They had this brilliant idea: offer free users extra storage if they got a friend to sign up. And the result? It was explosive. They went from 100,000 users to 4 million in just 15 months. And get this, over a third of their new signups every single day came directly from those referrals. Their users literally built their business for them. Now, let's talk about the second engine, which is maybe even more powerful. It's called network effects. All that means is that the product itself gets more valuable as more people use it. Just think about Zoom. A video conferencing tool is totally worthless if you're the only one on it, right? The value comes from all the other people you can connect with. And who builds that network? The free users. They're the ones rolling out the red carpet. Every single free user on Zoom or LinkedIn makes the whole platform more useful, especially for those big companies that are paying customers. It's no wonder that studies show companies with strong network effects have valuations that are 3 to 4 times higher than similar companies without them. The free users are literally building the product's value. And that brings us to the third engine, data. Every little thing a free user does, every song they stream on Spotify, every file they upload to Dropbox, that's a valuable piece of data. Spotify is famous for this. They analyze the listening habits of their gigantic free user base to make their music recommendations and discovery algorithms almost scary good. And that makes the product stickier and better for everybody, which, in turn, helps convert more free users and keep the paying ones happy. So, at this point, kind of sounds like a magic formula, right? But for every Dropbox or Spotify, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of companies that have tried freemium and just completely failed. And that's because pulling this off is an incredibly delicate balancing act. You know, one of the biggest hurdles is just making it obvious why someone should upgrade. Dropbox nails this. It's crystal clear, you run out of free space, you pay for more. Simple. But then you look at a service like LinkedIn, and for a lot of people, the value of that premium subscription can feel a little
fuzzy, and if people don't get what they're paying for, they're just not going to pay. In fact, business strategists have actually put together a kind of checklist for this. You have to ask some tough questions. What part of your service should be free? Is the premium offer totally clear? Are your free users actually spreading the word? And maybe most important of all, are you ready to keep innovating, to keep adding new value to that premium tier over and over again? And you can see all these different strategies out in the wild with the big players. Dropbox, they use a storage limit. Spotify hits you with ads and feature limits. LinkedIn puts its best communication tools behind the paywall. And the New York Times gives you a taste, with 10 free articles a month. They're all different solutions to that same tricky balancing act.
So, where does this all leave us? What does it mean for the future? Well, it means we have to really change how we think about the word free in the digital world.
So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. In a great freemium model, free isn't an expense on a spreadsheet. It is the company's single most valuable strategic asset. It's your marketing team, your network builder, and your R&D lab, all rolled into one powerful package.
But, and this is a big but, it is not a set-it-and-forget-it strategy. You have to be relentless. You have to be committed to constantly innovating, constantly adding cool new features to that premium tier to give people a reason to finally make that jump and upgrade.
And that kind of leaves us with one last really interesting question to chew on. We all feel it, right? Subscription fatigue. We're just tired of paying for dozens of different services every month. In a world like that, could it be that a really smart freemium model, one that lets you prove your value before ever asking for a dime, is the only way left to build a product that can reach a truly massive global scale? It's definitely something to think about.